Well, Belfast has come out to remember our comrades 45 years later. I mean, already you can see the crowds gathering here at Divis Tower and Divis Street. It's a very emotional occasion. Speaking to a young girl who was born in May 1981, and it's really hard to fathom that, you know, I mean, here's a person who has obviously no memory of all this, and you're standing beside people like Jim Gibney and Danny and the Seen others from the Relatives Action Committee at the Smash H. Flacker and Armagh, and it just brings it all back. So I know Belfast will provide a fitting tribute to the hunger strikers and also give support and solidarity to their families, but already you can see that there's crowds from everywhere here today. You can see that there's political ex-prisoners here involved in the commemoration. There's men and women who were in the blocks in Armagh jail who are here today to play their part. And I suppose it's just as the slogan was then, and it remains the same now. It's constant. Everybody has their part to play, and indeed Belfast has come out today to play their part.
Well, looking back on 35 years of where we were back in the dark days of 1981 till where we are today, I think it's unimaginable. The idea that we're standing here with this large crowd, people are very committed to maintaining the memory and the spirit of the hunger strikers, and I think it is very fit that we have in our midst here today such a range of prominent people within our own party. You have ministers in the Stormont Assembly, you have TDs, you have all these councillors from all over Ireland. Powerful testament to the sacrifice and the struggle of our comrades 35 years ago.
to be here in Belfast for this important opportunity on the 35th anniversary of the hunger strikes to honour all of our hunger strikers. And it's quite clear from the massive turnout in Belfast that this is a period in our history that goes right to the core of people's thoughts and emotions about one of the most significant periods in Irish history.
This is obviously the national march for the 35th anniversary of the hunger strike, and I think it's very, very important that each year we come together to remember the sacrifice of the 10 men that died in the hunger strike, but also to ensure that the legacy of the hunger strike is told and retold. So when you come here today and see thousands of people, particularly young people, it's very uplifting and very heartening to come here.
it's a very, very emotional day. Obviously, we've all the hunger strikers' families here, some of the families, and I think that really, today's the 35th, this is the 35th anniversary parade, and I think it's very, very important too. We've quite a lot of young people, and as you can see on the stage, the young people are going to do most of the proceedings. So I think it's very good to see that, because some people weren't even born when the hunger strikers died in hunger strike in 1981, but the thing is their names are renowned across the world and everybody remembers them. So I think it's a very fitting tribute today that we have such a large crowd, and certainly as I said, it will be very emotional for some people, particularly for the families.
As we know, this is the 35th anniversary of the hunger strikes, a watershed moment in Irish history, probably the single most important event over the past 50 years. And it's great to see that the sacrifice made by the hunger strikers hasn't been forgotten. There's thousands of people out here on the streets of West Belfast and here in the Falls Park today, and it's a great tribute to those who gave their lives, and for those of us who survived the hunger strike, those of us who were in the H blocks and in Armagh, it's very emotional for us to see so many people here. If you look on the stage today, the stage is filled with young people, none of whom were even born in 1981. It was great to see the people out today in uniforms from 1916, and also people dressed in the blankets, the symbol of the protest of 1981. And it's no accident that there's that symbolism there between the two events, the 16 Rising and the 1981 hunger strike, because the 1981 hunger strike was this generation's 1916. The sacrifice was similar, and the implications of the hunger strike, the revival of the struggle, the move towards conflict resolution. So it's a great day. It's a day to remember the men who made the ultimate sacrifice, and I'm very proud to have been associated with them.
Doesn't seem quite so long ago, the last time that I saw you. Ain't it funny how the memories grow? Seems they always hold around you, tried to break you in a living hell, but they couldn't find a way, so they killed you in a H-block cell. Hoped it all would turn away, thought your spirit wouldn't rise again, but you dared to prove them wrong, and in death you tore away the chains and let the world hear freedom's song. Yet the heartache and pain linger on. We're still here, though it's so long since you've gone, but we're stronger now. You showed us how freedom's fight can be won.
Gorgeous, Mr. Fintan Warfield, Boilem Falcha, Gurib Goktan Ansha, Quick on Shulasha, is more on Honorade them a vet, Ansha and you, August Boilem, Buikas the Geld, the Sinn Féin Belfast, Asan Curia Hugshiv, Dum and you. 8 years ago, I became involved with our movement at the age of 16, inspired and informed by our songs, poems, and music, and politicised by my sexuality. As in 1916, the 10 men who made the ultimate sacrifice in 1981 were cultural as much as political activists. As in 1916, amongst our comrades and before and after were prisoners who ensured queer representation from the cells of Long Kesh. A quarter of a century before the achievement of civil marriage equality in the South, one prisoner of war said, and I quote, "The key to gay and lesbian liberation lies in the success of our national liberation struggle." Comrades, that national liberation struggle has yet to be achieved, and our rights continue to be partitioned. Our message is loud and clear: do not partition our rights. The events of the past continue to shape us and what we do today. Often those events happened long before we were born, sometimes within our own lifetimes, but their legacy remains as strong and vivid today. In this year we remember the leaders of 1916 with dignity and pride. They led our struggle, provided inspiration, and continue to guide us today as we seek to complete their task of establishing a socialist republic worthy of that proclamation. We also remember the leaders of the 1981 hunger strike with pride and admiration. They, like the leaders of Easter week, took on the might of the British establishment and did so with nothing but their bodies and a steely determination for what was right. For Republicans today, the 10 hunger strikers who died in Long Kesh occupy that same space in Republican history as the men and women of Easter week. The courage and determination of the 1981 hunger strikes continues to inspire Republicans today and guide everything that we do. They face repression, brutality, indignity and living conditions unimaginable in a supposedly civilised society. They also face the malicious indifference of a political regime which sought to criminalise them and to break their spirit. Against such cruelty, the unbreakable Republican strength shone through, and in the harshest conditions of the H blocks of Long Kesh, the prisoners became the forefront of our Republican struggle.
Is Mission Megan Féin. I've been a Republican, socialist and feminist activist, taking on many different roles for almost a decade. I'm very proud to be a current MLA for Newry and Armagh and junior minister as part of our executive team. I grew up in South Armagh, an area that has successfully resisted British oppression for generations. My happy childhood memories are underpinned with visions of a very visible and disruptive foreign occupation. I've always felt a strong connection to our local volunteers and to the cause of freedom and equality, a cause they fought and died for. One of South Armagh's proudest sons was Raymond McCreish. I was born 10 years after the hunger strikes, but I'm already older than he was when he made that ultimate and unimaginable sacrifice. His memory has always been an inspiration not only to me, but to thousands of others around the world. Raymond and his comrades could have chosen another way. They could have taken easier paths, but they didn't. They chose to stand up for their communities, for the people they loved and who loved them. And it is because of the dedication and sacrifice of people like those we remember today that I was fortunate to be born into an entirely different political dispensation. My generation of young Republicans are separated from them only by time. Young people have always been catalysts for change around the world and to the forefront of our struggle here at home. This is true even today, as we stand here together on this stage, honouring their memory and proudly carrying on their legacy. A legacy that has been handed down through generations, from 1916 to the men in H-block cells, to the women in Armagh jail, and to us here today. The flame of freedom burns bright in our hearts just as it did 35 years ago. Inspirational and determined leadership, like that witnessed in the GPO, came to the fore as ordinary young men and women took on extraordinary roles that would change the course of our history. They remained unbowed and unbroken, guided by that undauntable thought: they were right. Tragically, 10 hunger strikers went to their deaths as a cruel British government and their puppets in Dublin looked on. They did not die in vain. Their legacy helped us propel our struggle to where it is today. But the hunger strike was about much more than 10 brave men. It was about the hundreds of men and women in Long Kesh and Armagh who endured years of protest, refusing to be criminalised. The victory of the hunger strikers was their victory. It was also about the prisoners' representatives on the outside, who battled daily, and those who travelled the world to garner support for their 5 demands. and it was about the tens of thousands of people, young and old, who took to the streets in villages and towns and cities across Ireland and indeed across the world to support the men and women of Longkesh and H-Block in Armagh. The people of Fermanagh and South Tyrone elected Bobby Sands as the People's MP. Against the opposition of Fianna Fáil and the political establishment in the South, the people of Cavan Monaghan elected Kieran Doherty as their TD, and the people of Louth elected Paddy Agnew as their TD. The hunger strikers and the men and women of Longkesh led the way and created the path we have followed ever since. A path that has led us to our current position of political strength. Comrades, it's now our job to make the vision of 1981 a reality.
Is mission now O'Donnell, Rogu August Togu sa Tri Army, Cantor Wilme and Maconi on Gafoil, a Cahan Pisa Ama and Wally Clee and this is a reason in the Shaw. Like many, I am the proud son, grandson and nephew of Republican ex-POWs. I am the product of a risen, politicised, defined and organised community. I am the product of an Irish language education and I am the proud product of this city, Belfast. I became active in the Republican struggle in my early teens when the spectre of unionist violence and intransigence returned to the streets of my neighbourhood. Inspired by the example of the men and women around me, extraordinary men and women in the same vein as those brave heroes of the hunger strike era. Inspired by the activism, example and courage of the heroes of 81, I went forward as a Sinn Féin public representative in 2006. In 2011, I became Belfast's youngest mayor, and just a few short months ago, I was elected to Shannon Erin. Throughout all these journeys, I have been accompanied on the path by the men and women of 81, those who are still here with us, and the spirit of those who sadly aren't. The protesting prisoners in Armagh and the H-Blocks, the youth committees on the outside who became the model for the energised and dynamic youth movement we see represented so vividly here today, continue to shine like beacon lights, guiding the way for those of us who are coming after and doing our utmost to advance the struggle today, particularly in this most profound centenary year of 2016. Bayad Lekra and Trevsi Shin the Dinia Las Splanker lay his Strachel Sugin, Luxia Ja Hampla Duin. Hug she doing and Tahu Cecile like a woman Janish and on Gaira. Through you gathered here today, our hunger strike heroes have passed the mantle on to us. We are determined for them and for you to finish the job. We are now in government in the north and leading the effective opposition in the south, representing communities from all over Ireland on local councils in the Dáil, Shannon, Assembly and in Europe. Today too we face the unprecedented opportunity. Just as in 1916 and in 1981, our struggle stands on a threshold. Partition was wrong in 1922, it was wrong in 1981, and it is wrong today. It was an injustice that must be ended. The Good Friday Agreement provided for a peaceful and democratic pathway to Irish unity. This generation, our generation, does not have to make the same sacrifices of previous generations. But we do have to make good the promise of 1916. The only fitting tribute to our hunger strikers is a united Ireland and a true Irish Republic. The recent English vote to take this part of Ireland out of the EU against our will demonstrates once again the undemocratic nature of the Union. We have to build the momentum for unity. We all have to advocate, campaign and plan for Irish unity. We cannot deliver Irish unity alone. We need the maximum support both north and south. So in the words of the Blanket Men, in the words of the Armagh women, in the words of Shortstrand, Clonard, Cregan, Ballamurphy, Strabane, Newry, Youth Against H-Block and Armagh, Chuggy Arla.
It's Michelle Alicia McKellen and I am a proud daughter of Derry. At the time of the hunger strikes, I wasn't even a thought, never mind a notion. I was born in 1982 into a strong Republican family in Derry and have been a Republican my entire life. Like most Republican children of the time, I took part in hundreds of marches, protests and events throughout the years. Even as a small child, I was always aware of the injustices and inequalities that faced our community, and I loved nothing more than watching the news daily after dinner and listen as my parents would debate and discuss the issues of the day. The fact that I came from a Republican family wasn't, however, a predetermination that I too would follow suit and become involved. And like everyone here today, there are a number of events that took place in my life that I can point towards which shaped my decision to dedicate my life to the Republican struggle. 2 of these events took place before I was even born. Having attended annual Bloody Sunday marches as a child, I was very much influenced in early life with the events that took place in the streets of Derry on the 30th of January 1972. And as I became a little bit older and a little better informed, a fire ignited in my stomach. That same fire is still burning today. Strangely enough, another event which influenced me significantly took place 1 year after the first ceasefire. In 1995, as a young girl aged only 13 years, I watched with fury and anger as events began to unfold at Drumcree. It was that summer when I decided that I wanted to play a more active role in bringing an end to British rule in Ireland, and it wasn't long after that that I joined the then Sinn Féin youth. The Hitch Block protests and the hunger strike inspired a new generation of Republicans. I am part of that story. There is no doubt that a huge debt of gratitude is owed not only to the brave women and men who paid the ultimate sacrifice, but also to the tens of thousands of women and men who individually played their part as part of our struggle. And on behalf of my generation of Republicans, I want to say to each and every one of you, Gura Mila Mila Mayogat. So fast forward a few decades, 3 children, 1 wedding and 19 elections later, and here I am today. I've just finished having the greatest honour and privilege to serve my city and district as its mayor for their people. I've been honoured to have been elected 3 times from the community in which I love and serve. I work day and daily within the structures of the party with many different roles to help to bring about our ultimate objective. I also take great pride in listening to my children as they now too begin to take inspiration from people like the hunger strikers. During the hunger strike, Republicans travelled across Ireland and across the world generating support and promoting awareness and building alliances. The righteous of the hunger strikers' demands won people to our cause. Today, we must follow on their example. We must take inspiration from the hunger strikers and their representatives. The righteous of Irish unity is self-evident. Partition has and will always fail, and unity is the only way forward. Let the voices for unity be heard. Let us recommit to building support and building alliances for unity. 35 years ago, the hunger strikers caught the attention of the world and encapsulated our struggle forward. Today, we can take on their mantle and continue their work to build a new Ireland for us all. Let this generation, let my generation, let our generation be the generation that sees this country united. Gurmila Mayogat.
It's all a rabbit come. The more you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can't deny me, you can't decide to turn your face away. No matter causes, there's something inside so strong. Well, I know I can make it, but you're doing me wrong so long. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. ears to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. I'm behind the walls of Jericho, your lies will come tumbling. Deny my place in time, squandered well, that's fine. My light will shine so bright against what I'm lying to. Cause there's something inside so strong, well I know I can make it. You did me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. There's something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when the instance we're just not good enough. But we know better. We're gonna look in the eyes and we'll say, we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. Cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. But you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. There's something inside so strong. Our day is coming. There's something inside so strong. Our day is coming. There's something inside so strong. Oh, chunky Allah, something inside so strong.
No bhí sé go thugtar fad na daoine óga acáin sin ag caloú agus ag cans agus ag obair óráin, so bhí sé go hán mhaith agus bhí mé hán sásta fásta na rá ardmhaithe agus na fíor plúd a acáil ag Marshall thuas bothar na bháil agus an seo a park na bháil.
I think today, the 35th anniversary, it seems like it was the first anniversary. You know, it's just time stands still with regards to the period of the hunger strikes at the time, and to think that the people of 2016 are remembering the hunger strikers of 1981 in the same way that they did a year after the hunger strike, at the time of it, and especially with all the young people involved today. As Bobby Sands said all those years ago, that our victory will be the laughter of our children. You know, you can just see it there today. It's along the route, and an emotional time for the families, especially with the prisoners, both from the H blocks in Armagh and from some of the English prisoners being present. It puts everything into perspective. But I think as we go forward, no doubt that the sacrifices of 1981 and of all the years before and since will eventually come to fruition for our country.